And another interesting fact here was that originally, Mecha Dagon was not supposed to be like the final villain for Godzilla fight for in season one. If anything, he was going to be fighting a clone of himself, but I decided to change that and just be like, you know what, just go for Mecha Dagon. So, yeah, I didn't want to call it Mecha Godzilla 2021. And I wanted to bring in Godzilla's father back, who is Dagon. Yes, Dagon in this series is Godzilla's father. Some of my stories I will have Dagon to be the father of Godzilla. Other stories I'll have him be rather like a friend or sometimes even his brother. Because, well, I think it's kind of confirmed that Dagon is not really the father of Godzilla. But then again, we don't really know because Toho decided to have Legendary to stop making innocent species, so Dagon doesn't really exist in the MonsterVerse anymore. So, R.I.P. Dagon, you will be missed. Pretty sure Space Wars is gonna make a joke about that on his channel. I will not be surprised if he does. But yeah, I just wanted to bring in Dagon back into the series. However, I didn't want to bring him back in a way that, well, how do I say it? Like, back from the dead. The dead, like, Apex somehow got Dagon's flesh and, well, like, his flesh back on and, like, figure out what his color was. So I decided to go for a Godzilla against Mecha Godzilla route and chose to bring in Mecha Dagon. And the best way to do that was to get a different Mecha Godzilla figure. And at the time, I got the Mecha Godzilla 2021 figure, and it was perfect to use. But of course, I didn't eventually get the time to do the last episodes. Well, I guess I did do the last episodes, but I ended up having Godzilla Earth to be like the son of Godzilla and Mikasa, and I was like, what? I'm actually kind of really glad that I'm remaking the whole series and going a much more effective and more different route. And even giving the story a more interesting lore, like Godzilla Earth being like the god of the universe, and like all the other kaiju saying like, holy Godzilla Earth this, or holy that, or by Godzilla Earth's beard. And yes, Void Ghidorah is the devil in this series. Most of the times, Godzilla Earth and Void Ghidorah will be considered as the gods of the universe of a certain story that I work on, while other times they're not really considered as that. Like, for example, in the Godzilla Family remake series, Godzilla Earth is not considered as the god of the monsters yet. He will be, but just not now. He needs to earn that position to be considered as the god of, well, the Godzilla Family universe. While Void Ghidorah, he's still like the devil. So, yeah. And I think what I liked about having like the anime Godzilla, King Ghidorah and Mothra to be like considered as gods of certain universes that I happen to like be like creating for like the stories, stuff like that. I think that's a really interesting idea because like Godzilla Earth and Void Ghidorah are considered as the most strongest versions of Godzilla. Well, besides Godzilla Ultima, but to some fans, they don't think Ultima's that powerful because they haven't seen his godly-like powers yet. So, and I don't blame them for thinking that because honestly, Ultima did not do anything in Season 1, a singular point, to show that he really does own 13 different dimensions, honestly. But I still think he is considered as one of the most powerful Godzillas. Just in my AU, Godzilla Earth is far more powerful, he's far more ancient. So if anything, Ultima only has a the Godzilla Ultima in my AU only has a mere fraction of Godzilla Earth's power. Yes, the Godzilla Ultima in my AU has only but a mere fraction of Earth Godzilla's power. Anyways, there was some other stuff that I liked about it, but I think the other thing that I didn't like about the originals, about Season 1, was that all the Kaiju characters end up bumping into their human love interests. Like, I was like, okay, I guess. I'm gonna have to change that later on down the road. Maybe I'll just rather introduce the kaijus to their human love interests rather off-screen or just in a very different way. Hell, maybe I'll have them to reveal their true identities to their human love interests before Godzilla reveals his true identity to Mikasa. To make the story a bit more interesting, honestly. And I think that's a good idea to do that. If anything, it gives me enough time to truly make a story better, honestly. Because when I was watching Storm Monster's reaction videos, he was saying, "Oh God," or stuff like that. And don't worry, Storm Monster, it's not me being angry at you. If anything, I actually kind of see what you were talking about. So hopefully, when I get done with Season 2, I'll get on to the remake of Season 1, and hopefully make certain things better. Hopefully. If not, then I'll have Karen Seth3 slap me in the face. The other stuff I liked about it was, the last remake episodes. I liked how the way those episodes turned out. I mostly made those episodes to make a bit more of a better ending for the story instead of a rushed ending, because, let's be honest here, the ending that I gave, the original ending that I gave for Season 1 was a bit rushed, but in the remake episodes, they're not really rushed. In fact, if you look at it closely, they are more focused. And that's what I liked about doing that. Those episodes. They're more focused instead of being rushed. But I am going to say this, though. When I was working on those episodes, my plan was originally not going to have Bagan be the main villain for Season 2. If anything, Death Ghidorah was going to be the original main villain for Season 2. But I chose Bagan because, well, at the time I had the dragon figure that kind of looked like Bagan, so I was like, well, you know what, why not do that? But then freaking Bandai comes crashing into the freaking room and makes a freaking Bandai Movie Monster Series Bagan figure. And I'm just like, what the hell? Where were you all those years ago? And I'm still wondering why it took Bandai this long to freaking make a Bandai Movie Monster Series Bagan figure. I guess they just needed a Godzilla project in order to make Bagan. Which, it doesn't really make any sense, because if you think about it, Super Godzilla is kind of a Godzilla project. It is a Godzilla video game, after all. So, I mean, they could have made a Bandai Bagan and Super Godzilla, honestly. They could have made those figures, but they didn't. They waited literally years to make those figures until, like, literally recently. They made Bagan, 2 versions of Bagan, actually. The one I have, and the video game Accurate one. And of course, Super Godzilla himself. Now, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get Bagan, that means only one thing. I have to get Super Godzilla. Bandai has to make a Super Godzilla figure. And at the time, I was like scared because like there was no news or no nothing. So I was like, okay, do I have to like rather try to get a custom Super Godzilla made by some other person? Or do I like literally have to get another Bandai Space Godzilla and customize that to look like Super Godzilla? But luckily, Bandai came in at the last moment and made a Super Godzilla figure. So, huge thank you to Bandai. You honestly saved me a lot of trouble. Because I would have been like screaming, oh god, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I mean, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I need a Super Godzilla figure. Like, right now. Because if you really think about it, I think Super Godzilla is the only thing that can propose a real threat to Bagan. I don't think Godzilla's burning form is enough to put up a real fight to Bagan, honestly. And I know what you guys are going to be saying, well, why did I not choose Destroya? I think Destroya is a little too obvious. I think people just need to give him a break and think about the bigger picture here. Bagan is clearly more powerful than Destroya. Because if you really think about it, combining Godzilla and King Ghidorah's cells together to make the Super Serum in order for Godzilla to become Super Godzilla, like, that's just a lot. Like honestly, that is more interesting than just Godzilla just consuming a buttload of nuclear energy and just turning into a burning form, honestly. I find combining the cells of King Ghidorah and Godzilla to make the Super Serum, and to add that to turn Godzilla into Super Godzilla, will be a bit more effective than just Godzilla consuming a buttload of nuclear energy just so he can turn to his burning form. If anything, that will take a lot of time, honestly. It will take way too much time.